Hello, Riverdale community. This is your principal, Mr. Paris, coming to talk to you a little bit about what school is going to look like in the hybrid model. Now, I'm not going to be getting into what lessons are going to look like and what schedules may look like, because I know teachers are hard at work figuring that out and making adjustments as we need be. However, I wanted to make sure I was coming to you to let you know what the physical building will look like and talk to you about some of our procedures and protocols that we've been working really hard over this past summer and as school has started to iron out all the details. I want to thank the reopening team that worked with me over the summer, which included staff and parents and guardians. So let's hop right into what our protocols are going to look like. I'm going to share my screen. And then, of course, if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to email me those questions at a later time. So away we go. All right, Riverdale Elementary School protocols for in-person students. So here's what we're going to be going over inside this presentation. We're going to talk about the pump in, pump out culture, as well as masks. We're going to go over the student lineup and entry, what the hallways look like, health office and medical isolation room, what lunch is going to look like, what recess will look like. We're going to talk a little bit about bathroom procedures, student dismissal, and then some other nice to knows. First things first, pump in, pump out. So you know that we follow our Riverdale standards of behavior, which we are respectful, we are responsible, we're hardworking, and we're positive. Well, now we also have a pump in, pump out culture. What this means is simply that when you're entering a classroom or learning space, you're going to take a pump of hand sanitizer. And when you're leaving that classroom or learning space, you're going to take a pump of hand sanitizer. The adults are going to be doing this as well. And you can see in my presentation here, I have it circled. I believe this is actually Miss Nolette's classroom. We have hand sanitizer everywhere. It's at the front of the building. It's at each entrance. But again, whenever you're entering a room or leaving a room, you're going to take a pump of hand sanitizer to make sure that our hands are nice and clean. Masks. We're always going to be wearing masks. I'm not wearing mine right now because I'm presenting to you, but I have plenty of masks all around. So masks must be worn at all times while you're in the building, and especially when social distancing of 6 feet isn't always guaranteed. Now, also, there will be times when you won't have to wear your mask. These times will be snack time because you got to eat, lunchtime, and also at mask breaks. At those 3 times, we'll be making sure that you are definitely at least 6 feet apart from everyone in the classroom to ensure your safety as well as theirs. Now, remember that masks must be secured behind your ears or behind your head, and gaiters and bandanas are not allowed. They also need to cover your nose and your mouth. So unfortunately, we cannot wear them when they fall down like this, and we certainly cannot wear them as a blindfold, so we don't need to listen to class or watch class. So that covers masks. We're going to go over masks at recess later in the presentation, but masks will be worn at recess as well. All right, student lineup and entry. So when you come here and you start lining up, we're going to be lining up a little bit differently. So I want to make sure you listen to this part and make sure to watch this part of the presentation. 1, students should arrive to school between 8:30 and 8:45 a.m. Families, I really need you to listen to this part because I'm going to be very, very strict about it. Students may not come to school before 8:30 a.m. Students will not be allowed inside the building before 8:30 a.m. and there's no adult supervision outside before 8:30 a.m. Now, if you choose to walk up or drive up with your student and wait with them before 8:30, that's completely fine. But they do need to be supervised by an adult. Unfortunately, we do sometimes have students that arrive before 8:30, and if that does happen, I will be calling home to let you know and remind you that students cannot come before 8:30 a.m. So, students will be lining up at various spots around the basketball court and also the back of the building. Students in 3N in grades 1 and 2, since their classrooms are in the primary hallway in the new part of the building, they have what we call exterior doors. They have doors that go directly outside. So students in all of these classrooms will be lining up directly outside of their classroom doors. There will be markings on the pavement that look just like this. There'll be yellow giraffes, blue elephants. You're gonna want to look for these animal footprints but that look like actual feet. And that's where you're gonna line up because they'll also be spread out 6 feet apart. We'll make sure that you know exactly where to line up. And if you make a mistake, that's okay. There's going to be plenty of adults outside to make sure you know where to line up. No one's going to yell at you. You're not going to get in trouble. We just want to make sure everyone's staying safe. So again, classroom 3N, and then any classrooms in grades 1 and 2 will line up right outside their exterior doors, either in the back of the building or in the front. If you're in 3J, so Miss Jenkins is your 3rd grade teacher, or if you're in grades 4 and 5, you're still going to be lining up outside by the basketball court, but now you're going to be on the side of the basketball court, or possibly on the walkway that's right by the basketball court. Again, these markings will be there and we'll show you exactly where to line up on that first day that you come. We're doing this to make sure that everyone is staying 6 feet apart and also that we keep our basketball court intact because I know a lot of community members and students use that basketball court. Now here's something that's really important for you to know. Even if the weather is inclement, it's cold, it's raining, maybe it's snowing, students are still going to be lining up outside. We will no longer have students coming inside during weather like this to line up in the auditorium simply because social distancing just can't be guaranteed. So please be sure to be getting those umbrellas ready and proper dressings for rainy days and snowy days because you will have to stand outside. If at any point the weather becomes too inclement that it's not safe to have students outside, we'll bring them in, but not until 8:30. At 8:30, we'll bring them right into their classrooms. But again, we always want to make sure safety is our top priority. The other thing to know is that at 8:30, staff members will be outside assigned to each classroom to make sure that they are watching each classroom to enforce mask wearing and social distancing. Now the hallways, look at all of these pictures. To help you all students remember what side of the hallway to walk on, because you know we're always reminding you, we've put tape up and down every single hallway and even on the stairs to remind you to stay to the right side. This is to enforce social distancing as much as we can, with the understanding that there may be times that you're not exactly 6 feet apart in a hallway from side to side if you're crossing paths with someone. That's why we need to make sure those masks are on. But you'll see that there's tape in the hallways as well as these really cool animal footprints that are spaced 6 feet apart so that you know where you can stand and how to keep about 6 feet apart from someone, as well as arrows to show you the direction. Again, if you're not exactly 6 feet apart, we're not going to yell at you. We will not be upset with you. We're simply going to remind you to try to keep at least 6 feet apart. Next, visiting the health office. Well, this is certainly something that happens every single year. Nurse Byrne is here to help make sure that we are healthy and feeling good and ready to learn. A couple different things. Students, if you ask to go to the nurse's office, your teacher's going to call down to the nurse's office and make sure that it's okay for you to go down there. Make sure that she's not working with another student at that point. Then you'll be sent down to the nurse's office. You'll be what we call assessed, simply that the nurse is going to check you out before you come into the health office to make sure that you don't maybe have a fever, have a headache, runny nose, itchy throat, things like that. She's just going to check that out before she takes you into the health office to talk about what's going on. And then some students take medications throughout the day. Nurse Byrne's going to set up appointments with you to make sure that you can always get those medications throughout the day. Now, let's say that you come down to the nurse's office and the nurse realizes that you're showing some symptoms of COVID-19, coronavirus, whatever you want to call it. Don't stress out. This is not a big deal. Many, many people have come down with coronavirus and COVID-19 and have done just fine with it. And we have certain protocols in place that are going to keep you safe as well as your fellow students. So what might happen is she might say, well, it's time to go to the medical isolation room. Well, that sounds really scary, but it's not. The picture is here. It's simply a room that has a couch in it, a rocking chair, there's a bed to lay down if your symptoms are that bad, and there's also going to be a student desk in there so you can continue doing your work. This is simply out of what we like to say, an abundance of caution to make sure that everyone's safe. Your parents or guardians will be called and they'll come pick you up. And while you're waiting for them, you're going to wait in this room here. It's not scary at all. It's not meant to be a punishment. It's simply to make sure that you are safe as well as everyone else in the building. Next, one of my favorite topics, lunch. So lunch, this is no different to us. Lunch is inside the classroom, just like it is every other day at Riverdale School. What's going to be a little bit different is lunch is now free to all Dedham Public School students. So it's not like you need to order a month in advance like you used to have to. What's going to happen is in the morning, you're simply going to raise your hand when the teacher asks you who would like lunch. Then what's going to happen is lunches will be brought down on these carts here, as you can see in the bags, and they're actually going to be brought to your classroom instead of students going down to the lunchroom to get them. So those will be brought to your classroom and lunches will be handed out. Now, let's say that you're using the food distribution site at Riverdale for the meals for when you're not at Riverdale School. That's fine too, but that's now going to be happening on Wednesdays. I know it was on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but now it's going to be on Wednesdays from 12 o'clock p.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. So you can come on over on Wednesdays and get food. Know that if you have to log off of your Zoom or you get onto your Zoom or Google Meet a little bit late because you're getting food, you're not going to be punished. Get back as soon as possible. But I know that lunch is really important, so you got to get up here to get some food. But again, that's going to be on Wednesdays, which is going to be a remote day for everyone. Wednesdays from 12 o'clock p.m. to 2 o'clock p.m. Also, another thing is lunches will be in the classroom as usual, but you will not be able to sit at anyone else's desk. You'll have to stay at your desk, which will be 6 feet apart from everyone. And we'll be making sure that people wash their hands and hand sanitize before eating. Recess is obviously important. So here's a couple different things about recess. One, every grade level is going to have its own recess. We'll have 5 recesses a day. Grade 1 will be with just grade 1, grade 2 will be with just grade 2, and so on and so forth. It's going to be on the same schedule that you've been doing it now in your classes from remote. So that's not going to be much different. Classroom teachers will be on duty at recess. And here's something important to know, that classrooms will not be able to mix at recess. In other words, if you're in 1H, you're only going to play with the students who are in 1H. If you're in 1C, you're only going to play with the students who are in 1C. And then we're going to be flip-flopping who has the basketball court and 4 square courts and who has the playground and structures and swings. And we'll just alternate each days. So when you're here, you're going to get at least 1 day of one and at least 1 day of the other. Masks are going to be worn throughout recess. That's important to know. So I want to repeat that again. Masks will be worn all throughout recess. That's because we can't guarantee that you'll be at least 6 feet apart from your friends because you're going to be playing with them and we want you to play with them. Here's what we're going to be saying is that if you need a mask break out at recess, you're going to have to, that's up to you, that's your decision, and you're going to have to go away from everyone in view of your teachers, but you'll have to stay at least 6 feet or more apart and you can take off your mask and stay in one spot. Bathroom procedures. This slide looks like there's a lot going on. I understand that. So let me work through it. Okay, students who are in 1H, Ms. Hodges' room, or 2FM, Ms. Fay and Ms. Mendy's room, you're really lucky because you have your own bathroom in your classroom. So you'll only be using that bathroom, 1 student at a time. Students in 1C, 2K, and 2R will be using the bathrooms in the primary wing. So I have the classrooms right here. So that's what your doors are going to look like. Now here's the deal. 1 boy and 1 girl from each of those classrooms will be able to go to the bathroom at a time. So that means we'll have no more than 3 boys and 3 girls in a bathroom at a time. That's simply just to ensure that we can promote social distancing in the bathrooms. If you are in 3N, you kind of have your own bathroom because your bathroom is going to be the bathroom down by what we used to call the YMCA area. It's across from Miss Corey's office and the lunchroom right by the gym. And Miss Nolette will go over where that is. And there's a picture of your door there. If you are in 3J or in grades 4 and 5, you're going to use the upstairs bathrooms just like you always have done. Okay. And that again is going to be 1 boy and 1 girl from each classroom will be able to go at a time, making sure that at that point, we'll only have 5 people at most in a bathroom. And we'll be reminding you of that. And of course, as you always did, you're going to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds before you leave the bathroom. There's also hand sanitizer everywhere, but it's always best to wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with warm water and soap. Next part, I'm almost done, I promise. The next part is student dismissal. Student dismissal will be a little bit different, but with some hints of the same. Couple different things. If you're in the bus in a car line, you're going to be assigned a color. And I'll go over this with students when you're here. But we're going to be calling students down by color. So that way we don't have everyone making a mad dash for where you're going to be lining up. And again, so we can promote what? Social distancing. So we're going to be calling people down starting at 2:50, but dismissal will not start until 3 o'clock. So families, that's important for you to know. We're not going to be dismissing people from the building until 3 o'clock. And it might take a little while we get used to it. So please be patient with us. So again, students will be called down and you'll be standing on social distance markings. If you're on the bus, you're now going to be in the gym. And if you're in the car line, you're still in the primary wing, and there's going to be markings for you to stand. Families will be standing together on their social distance markings, but if you're not in the same household, you will be standing at separate places. And walkers, this is important for walkers. You're going to be dismissed either through your classroom door, that's that new building, right? So 3N and then first and second grade. If you're a walker, you're simply going to be dismissed right outside your exterior door. Your teacher's going to walk outside and your teacher's going to be out there making sure that everyone goes home with someone. And if you are in 3J or in grades 4 and 5, you're going to be dismissed out the front door. Teachers will be walking you all the way down and out the front door to make sure people aren't congregating in big spaces and big groups of people. We're not done with student dismissal yet. There's a second slide. All right, so let's talk about car line. So car line, you know, can be an issue sometimes. There can be traffic, people are in a rush. We're trying to get through it as fast as possible, and I promise you we're going to. But we need to make sure that we're doing this in a very safe way. So to make sure that people are social distancing, we're gonna have students stay in the primary hallway, and then yours truly will be out at the car line with my walkie-talkie, because we got very fancy ones. And I'm gonna be radioing to the folks who are in the primary hallway, radioing out to people for the first 3 cars. So we're gonna be loading students 3 cars at a time. I know people are in a rush. I'm sure you have someplace to be. However, we need to make sure we're doing this so that it is safe. And we're not going to start dismissing people until 3:00 p.m. So here's what I'd like you to do. Families, while you're pulling up Circle Drive, if you're pulling up Circle Drive to pick up someone, I need you to please take a piece of paper and I want you to write your student's name in large, bold letters so I can see it. That's gonna make this go so much faster because instead of me asking who you're here to pick up, I'm gonna see that on your dashboard and I'm gonna radio in and say, I need Susie Sunshine and Mary Morning to come on out to be put into their cars. So that'll be me out there. If you forget the piece of paper, not a problem. I'll simply ask you, who are you here to pick up? That will just slow things down a little bit. Bus. If your student's going on the bus, staff will be there to load students as is in the guidance from the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, as well as the Department of Public Health. So we'll be making sure that that is all set as well. Walkers. Here's a big thing to know, especially for folks new to Riverdale School. Students in grades 1 and 2 must be accompanied either by an approved adult, so that's anyone on your emergency contact, so a parent, a guardian, or someone else on the emergency contact, or they can also be picked up by an older sibling. We're a neighborhood school. I know I have a lot of siblings that swing by and pick students up. That's completely fine. But grades 1 and 2 are not able to walk home by themselves. And then grades 3 through 5 are allowed to walk home by themselves. Now that being said, if families want to write a letter to me or a note, an email, anything to let me know that they'd rather those be changed, let me know. If you have a 4th grader that you'd rather not have walk home by themselves, just let us know. So that way we make sure that that student doesn't walk home by themselves. Moving right along, we're almost at the end of the presentation because now we're at other nice to knows. So here's some important things to know. 1, there are hand sanitizing stations everywhere all throughout this school, and especially at the entrances of the building. So if at any time, students, if you're entering the building, maybe you're coming in late or you're coming in through Circle Drive because you got here after your classes line has come in, you're gonna come in and you're gonna make sure to take a pump of hand sanitizer, okay? You're gonna take that right as you walk in the door. Also, students and families, make sure you listen to this as well. Students should bring water bottles to school because there are no more water fountains. We've actually blocked the water fountains for single use. We only have bottle filling stations. Dedham Public Schools has purchased all of these water coolers, as well as the bottle filling stations that we had before. But even on the bottle filling stations, we've shut off the way for students to be able to drink directly from the faucet. So make sure to bring a water bottle. We unfortunately don't have extra cups around or extra water bottles, so you're gonna wanna make sure to bring a water bottle with you. There'll also be hand sanitizing stations by the water filling stations as well. And then also, for visiting and entering the office, if you do need to visit the school, you're going to need to make an appointment with Mrs. Martin at the front desk. So you're going to want to call and let her know. If for any reason you do need to come to school, we're going to have you wait outside. So a lot of the communication will be done through the intercom system. please know this is not meant to give offense to you. It's not that we don't want you in here. It's simply because student safety, family safety, and staff safety is always a top priority for us. So in order to keep folks safe, we need to make sure we know exactly who's coming in and only letting people in who absolutely need to come in. So there may be times that we may say, sure, come right on into the office. But there is also going to be many more times that we say, go ahead and wait outside. We'll bring your student to you, or we'll come get whatever you needed to bring to your student from you at the front door. What does my classroom look like? Well, here's what a typical classroom is looking like. This is actually one of our 3rd grade classrooms, and you'll see that a lot of the desks are spread out, and you might be looking and saying, wait a second, why are those 2 desks together? That's simply because one desk is a cohort C, so they're coming Monday, Tuesday. One desk is a cohort D, they're coming Thursday, Friday. So that's why we can have those desks near each other. Other things in the classroom, you're gonna have a hand sanitizing station at the door. There are air purifiers in every single classroom running all day. This is just another view of a classroom. And then you're also gonna see signs all over your classroom and the school reminding you to cover your cough and sneeze, to wear your mask appropriately, to make sure you're wearing a mask, stay socially distant, use hand sanitizer, wash your hands, don't share materials, all of these other things. There's signs everywhere. What's also gonna remind you is, again, to use your own materials. Make sure, my friends and students, that when you're coming back, you bring back those pencil boxes with you. If you're coming back next week, or when you do come back, your pencil boxes and all of those materials are going back and forth with you because you're going to need them. So we are now moving into phase 2. I'm so excited. Phase 2 starts on Monday, October 5th, and that means my cohort B1, all right? So cohort B1, you're coming back to us on October 5th, and you're gonna be here Monday, Tuesday, remote on Wednesday, and then you'll be back on Thursday and Friday. And everyone else will be remote only. And then we're gonna start phasing people in, and I promise I will let you know when these phases are happening. Right now we're planning on each week bringing in a new phase. Might things change? Sure, maybe, but let's go off of that. Let's just have the understanding that we'll be bringing in a phase each week, and if we need to change, if the school district needs to change, we'll change it. But right now, we're looking good. So cohort B1, you're coming Monday, October 5th. Now it's gonna be different on Monday, October 5th, my B1 friends is, we actually thought it would be fun to have your actual names on a piece of paper. So when you come outside of your classroom or onto basketball court, look for your name on a laminated piece of paper. We only have 12 students coming on Monday. So it's gonna be really different, but I'm so excited to have you all come back and try out our protocols. So look for your name, and that's where you're gonna line up on Monday morning. And again, we're in phase 2 starting Monday. Second to last slide, I promise. This is the Dedham Public Schools reopening plan. And I'm gonna send this presentation out to you folks along with this video. But when you click here, it's going to bring you to the reopening plan, okay? So you can go ahead and do that if you want to check out the reopening plan. And my last slide is simply, I'm gonna see you soon, like in person, see you in the school. I can't believe this. I'm so, so excited. I'm really looking forward to having you here. The staff is really looking forward to having you here. We've been working really hard to make sure that we're ready for you. And I truly, truly believe we are. So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and I'm just gonna talk to you and let you know how proud I am of all of you. Students, families, and staff, I hope you're looking at this too. I'm so, so proud of the work that you've put in. You've all shown that you are respectful by following our rules on Zoom. You've shown that you're responsible by logging onto the Zoom and doing your work at home without a teacher directly in front of you sometimes. You've certainly shown that you're hardworking, because this is not easy work. This is hard. And above all, you've shown your positivity. The fact that you're coming back, that you're doing the work that we've never had to do before. You're staying positive. So I'm so, so proud of the work that our entire Riverdale community has done. And I truly, truly cannot wait to have you back in this building where you belong. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see some of you Monday morning. Bye-bye.